Good morning, folks. It is Monday, April the 18th, and we had a nice weekend, but now it's looking like we might get some more rain. That's just the way it goes, April showers and all. But I'm just here for my Monday check-in. And to start off with, I got a couple things I want to talk about. But firstly, for those who are interested in the Chinese herbs, oh, there's the crow. We had a crow, and if you saw my previous video, the squirrel, I got a crow and a squirrel that hang around here now. Anyway, sorry, got distracted. I'm going to show you the herbs and how I use them. So, this is my packet of herbs right here. All of them I don't know. I'm going to put them into here. I'll show you what I do know. This is astragalus, which is, it is a, can't get it to focus, darn it. Astragalus is good for the immune system, just kind of building it up. So that's in there. This might be dongui. One of these was dongui, which is Chinese angelica. That is another tonifier, and it's also good for women, hormones. My acupuncturist said dongui means, I think, to return to, as in to return to health. So that is a really important one. This little packet here are tiny little seeds. He said it's actually a weed and has been banned by the USDA because it is an invasive weed. So he gets it from China, and it's called dodder. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that. I think it's D-O-D-D-E-R. What else in here? You know, there's a lot of, I don't know if there's any licorice in here, but there's a lot of rooty looking things that look kind of like, I'm not sure if that's licorice or not. It doesn't smell licoricey to me. This one, he called it dog something, and I don't remember. Some of these might be mushrooms, I don't know, but so they're just, I'm just fascinated by, you know, the way they look. There's these other little things in here I was going to show you. Oh, where are those? These little guys here. He said that this is, I don't remember again what this is called, but he said they're a little tuber that grows underneath, like, he says if you were to see the plant, it would look like just a grass. So that's that. So what happens next is that I cover it with a quart of water, like so. Try to get them so that they're all submerged, and it's going to go on the stove. You're supposed to have a non-reactive pot. Stainless steel might be okay, but since I have glass, I'm going to use glass. So this is going to come up to a boil, and then as soon as it comes up to a rolling boil, I take it down to a medium boil, and I will cook it until the liquid reduces by 3/4. So when there's a cup of liquid there, that's when it's done. I take it off the burner and strain it. Sometimes I have to strain it and pour it back in to evaporate a little bit more if I get it ahead of time. And then let it cool to a little bit warmer than room temperature, and then I chug it down because it doesn't taste so great. It's actually not too bad. It's kind of sweet and very just concentrated, sweet and kind of tart, and very, very earthy. And then I eat a handful of raisins afterwards because it almost leaves a little bit of a tingling on my mouth. So that's how I cook it, and that's how you take this type of Chinese herbs. So something else I didn't mention is that the packet that I put in there, usually when you get Chinese herbs like that from a practitioner, you get them for, it's like a number of days. It's not something that you continue using the same formula for a long period of time. Or maybe you do, but you go back in and you see the practitioner again, but that is good for 2 days. I boil it once today, strain it, and then tomorrow, instead of measuring the water, I just cover the herbs because they get a little waterlogged when they boil, and it takes them, it takes a good 45 minutes or so for the water to boil down and the medicine to concentrate. So, for anyone who is interested in the Chinese herbs, that's the Chinese herbs deal. I would like to actually, I don't know, I'll have to talk to my acupuncturist. I'd love to do a little video in there because I found it really fascinating. And we were talking about it for a while. And I asked him how many herbs he had in his herb room, and he said like 350. But there are way more than that. And I just, you know, I'm fascinated at the fact that over, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of years of human evolution, how we learn about these things, you know, it's like how does that happen that now where we are in 2011 you have this broad encyclopedia of different herbs and what they do and how they affect the body and the mind and the spirit and all that. And I was talking to him about that, and I love the way he put it. He said, "This is history," and I thought it's so true. And the same could be said for food too. I mean, and that's why I love all this. It's like life is just so full of so much interesting stuff. You know, I don't, and I think for me, and this is kind of going off on a spiritual tangent, I think I'm coming to understand more and more that that is my spiritual bent. My religion is living this life in wonder, because it truly is amazing, even as human beings, what we can do and what we're capable of, and everything around us. I don't even have to know who, you know, how this came to be. I don't need to know the how. It's just the wonder of it alone is, you know, pretty much enough. And I am coming more and more, the older I get, to learn to be in that comfortable place of not knowing, you know. Anyway, so the other thing I was going to talk about was I went with a friend of mine yesterday and we saw The Conspirator, which tells the story of Mary Surratt, who was accused of conspiracy in relation to the Lincoln assassination. And I had read about Mary Surratt a couple of years ago because I saw some pictures of a cemetery in, I'm going to let that ring because I only get junk calls anyway, of a cemetery in, I think it's Maryland, a Catholic cemetery. Was it Mount Olivet? I'm not sure. But anyway, I read how her grave was there. That was kind of what was one of the features of this cemetery, because she was a Catholic. She was a Southerner, and she was a Catholic. And the story is a little complicated, and you know, when you just read about her on Wikipedia or whatever, I know I personally formed an opinion, but seeing this movie, it really made me think a little bit more, and it's very interesting to watch the change in one of the characters, in particular the man who is assigned to her defense in what amounts to a military tribunal. She was a civilian, but she was not given a civilian's trial. And so it was, I highly recommend the movie. It was directed by Robert Redford. Robin Wright plays Mary Surratt. I don't know the guy. I mean, there was a lot of actors in it that I recognized, and I even recognized the guy who played her lawyer, but I couldn't tell you his name. Isn't that terrible? But it's a fabulous movie. I highly, highly recommend it. So go see it if you get a chance, or at least when it comes on DVD. It's very pertinent to the times now and to what has been going on, Guantanamo and things like that. So that was another thing. And lastly, it was a nice weekend. We have cloudy, rainy skies again today, but we did have a lovely weekend, and I got a lot of my beds and border back to my plum tree cleared out of weeds, so I know it's there, so I know what I need to get as far as herbs. I found a couple stands of oregano. I have a bunch of different mint, but what I need to get is my spearmint has died off, so I need to get some more spearmint. Spearmint is good in mojitos. I also use it in tabbouleh. It seems to work in any of my salads, my lentil salad. Peppermint is good for tea, but spearmint I find is a little bit better actually chopped up in food, in mint chutney, which is really good. But there's a lot more work to do in the garden, so that's waiting. I'm down to my last roll of film from New York. It's a higher speed film, so it takes a little bit longer development and fixing, so I've been putting it off, but I need to do that. And yeah, so that's what's going on this Monday. I hope you're all doing well and had a good weekend, and I wish you a good week ahead. Take care. Bye.